Today's Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Coming up, Martin on the Congress all day has been discussing on the floor of the House H1, which is critically important to ensuring that we have fair voting laws in this country. We'll be joined by New York Congressman Mondaire Jones, plus our continuing coverage of voter suppression at Georgia. More drama there. Also on the Capitol Hill, D.C. Guard Commander William Walton testified today about what happened during the Capitol insurrection and how he was told he had opportune troops to go to the Capitol in June when Black Lives Matter protested, but not when the MAGA Trump people did. Also, Republican majority Democrats voted to keep incarcerated people from participating in elections. The Missouri Supreme Court has rejected an appeal from convicted murderer Johnson. County Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner dismissed that decision. Also, Lamar Jones came in first night in the St. Louis mayoral race. She now heads into a April 6 runoff. We'll talk with her. Plus, Shillong is being put forth by the Biden administration to run the Office of Management and Budget. Of course, that's after Near I had her name wrong. Also, conservatives, they're launching a gala ad campaign in support of civil rights lawyer Vanita Gupta's nomination as a attorney general. And of course, also, they've been targeting Kristen Clark, the lawyers committee. What is it? Republicans don't like civil rights lawyers? Yeah, I thought so. Plus, criminals, they billions in COVID-19 unemployment benefits. We'll talk about why a new relief prevented it from happening again. And an Amazon manager is suing over racial discrimination. Plus, California's local teachers union slamming the state's school reopening plan, saying it's for propagating structural racism. Crazy as white people segment is a little different. It deals with campaign financing. Y'all, it is time to bring the funk of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go. All day today on the House floor, been debating H.R. 1, a voting rights overhaul that would ban gerrymandering, voting rights protections, and impose new rules on campaign finance. And more. If passed, it would be the most significant law since the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. It was named after the late Congressman Jones, who, of course, focused on that for the balance of his. Now, Republicans have been battling for quite some time. The reason this bill is important is it took place when the Supreme Court in 2013 invalidated the Shelby v. Holder decision, which stripped away most in 4 of the Voting Rights Act. So the court also this week heard challenges to Section 2 of the Rights Act. This bill is important because it stopped a lot of suppression happening in states like Georgia. The question is, will Dems in the Senate, like Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin and Einstein, stop supporting the filibuster for some insane reason? That's the only way this is going to get passed. Joining me right now is New York Congressman Mondaire Jones. Glad to have you on Roland Unfiltered, and certainly congratulations on your election. This is called H.R. 1 for a reason. I have been saying after the co-leaf bill, this needs to be first. Next up, the George Floyd Justice Act. This is critically important because we are seeing in 43 states across the Republicans trying to launch the biggest voter suppression against black folks and others since Jim Crow.
That's exactly right, Roland, and it's so awesome to be here today with you and viewers. But this is unlike anything we have seen, at least since the Civil Rights Movement. And I was so grateful to hear you drive this bill, the For the People Act, as the most significant voting rights legislation since that Voting Act of 1965. This bill is a huge piece of legislation, and it contains a lot of things. The stuff that I tend to emphasize are automated registration, which would entice an additional 50 million people nationally, an end to the partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts, and the substitution of independent redistricting commissions so that Republican-controlled legislatures, of which there are many in the United States of America, don't dilute black voters by throwing them all into one district or by scattering them across multiple districts. This legislation included public financing of congressional elections. One of the reasons people, when they get to the United States Congress, debate the need for $2 survival checks in the worst economic crisis, the Great Depression, is because they are completely untethered from it. Congress is full of millionaires who disproportionately are the folks who are able to win congressional elections. I know firsthand, not as a millionaire, but as someone who did the odds and defeated a billionaire who spent $5.4 million of his own money in the race, and a lot of folks didn't think I could win. I should not be the exception to the rule. We need more working class elected to the United States Congress, and of course those folks will disproportionately be people of color, and we'll get more representative policies coming out of the States Congress that improve the lives of everybody, including racial justice. It's a shame that it's taken to do something like the George Floyd Just Policing Act, as well as the other great things that we need in this country.
The thing here, when we talk about what they're doing, and I don't think white Democrats really understand what's at stake here. When you talk about the Supreme last year and their ruling on partisan gerrymandering, the Supreme Court allowing there to be the purging of voters. If Republicans are able to do this, and if they are able to win the House next year, and that's doable, if they're able to take back the Senate, they could then put into law bills solidifying their voter suppression, and with them controlling the Supreme Court at 6-3 conservative majority, that could very well shut us down when it comes to voting and making it difficult next 10, 20 years. This is real. It's a true emergency in this country.
This is existential stuff. We have one major political party being the Republican Party, that because unable to compete on the merits of its policy ideas, has devoted itself to disenfranchising large swaths of the American electorate. And by that, I mean Black people, Hispanic people, young people, and lower income people, like families I grew up in. This is very deliberate stuff that's being done. We've now hundreds of bills in the wake of free and fair election that resulted in President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris introduced in state legislatures all across this country to make it more difficult for Black young people to vote. You're absolutely right. It remains a very real possibility that in a midterm election, as historically has been the case, the party controls the White House will lose the majority in the House of Representatives. We can stop that from happening. The way to do it, pass the For the People Act. Then, of course, in 2 months, it is my expectation that we will HR 4, the John Lewis Vote Enhancement Act. But to your point about the United States Supreme, we've got to build a record to make it most likely to survive constitutional scrutiny, because the same court struck down, that basically Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act in 2013 Shelby decision, conservative today, more hostile to democracy today than it was even in 2010. It's why I'm also proud to be a leading proponent in the United States of expanding the size of the Supreme Court issue of racial justice, among other things.
So, Congressman, how in the world do y'all get the attention of Sienna from Arizona, where the case for the Supreme Court is from her state? How do you get the attention of Joe Manchin to understand, and also Senator Feinstein, that this laying at the feet, loving, we gotta have bipartisanship with the filibuster, screws us, and actually it screws the party, because if the Republicans win next year, 2022, they're in the minority. How do y'all get to them to understand that you're not going to get 10 votes? Let's just be real clear. You're not going to get 10 Republican votes in the Senate. It ain't happening. The only way the House passes this, the only way this becomes law, is if 50 Democrats stand together and and get rid of the filibuster to pass this law and send to President Biden for a signature.
These Republicans in the Senate and in the House are people who mostly not even acknowledge President Biden was the victor in that presidential election. And despite nearly dying on January 6th in that violent white supremacist-led insurrection at the Capitol that I led along with the rest of them in the House, they declined overwhelmingly to acquit a former president of the United States. So these are not people who can be engaged in good faith, looking for that. And so I completely that we need 50 Democrats in the United States Senate that they did not run for just to do nothing when they got there, and that the thing they ran on are only possible either reforming, repealing and I remain optimistic that they will come to that conclusion. I look at someone like Amy Klobuchar, who was no one's progressive in the United States Senate, who said, you know what, enough is enough. we've got to pass legislation. Our Republican colleagues are not good faith actors. We've seen time and time again the bill was not meant to block progress urgent by the American people. And of course, I look at someone like Kirima, a history maker in her own right in the LGBTQ community. I'm sure she won't pass the Equality Act to finally enshrine in federal anti-discrimination law protections for the LGBTQ community, and so on and so forth. We look at the popular $15 minimum wage and COVID relief bill, generally 77% of today of the American people support. Talk about bipartisanship. So I remain optimistic that they either reform or repeal of the filibuster, even today, are not saying. But that means we have to continue to make our views loud and clear, and the American people must rise up and hold folks accountable at the ballot box.
All right. Congressman Mondaire Jones, I know you guys got voted all day. We really appreciate you joining us right here in Roland Unfiltered.
Thank you so much, Roland. Pleasure to be here.
All right. Thank you very much. Folks, we've been talking about, this is just to understand how significant this is. And let's just be real clear. You're not getting it from these other networks. You're not. You're getting cursory coverage from these networks. They're not really focused on how significant this is, how dramatic this is, because what we're seeing here place is a Republican Party that is so angry that they lost the White House. Is so angry that they don't control the United States Senate. So angry that they don't control the United States House. That what they want to do is they want to go even further in terms of make it difficult, make it impossible for folks to win. They admit before, listen to me clearly, they admitted before the U.S. Supreme Court this week. We showed you on yesterday. Admitted we need voter suppression to win. They said, oh, it's going to give a fair advantage to Democrats. Really? And see, we have to understand, the Supreme Court has ruled, and we covered this, they ruled that they have no role to play in partisan gerrymandering. So when I say in gerrymandering, what they've done is they pretty much locked down, these red states. Wisconsin, partisan gerrymandering, the Democrats could win 55% of the vote and still not control the chamber. So what Republicans are doing is trying to, because of the census, trying to craft these states, they completely control them. So they control the House, the state legislature. Then they control the Senate. Then they control the governor's mansions. Right now, more than 30. They control more than 30 right now. That, folks, is what I need you to understand is going on before us and how major it is. And so when we go beyond the issue of gerrymandering, then we start talking about purging. We start talking about how they will be able, do you understand, literally in Georgia, want to outlaw and make it a minor crime to give people food and water? You understand how crazy this, how nonsensical this is. And what Republicans are doing, I'm just going to play it for you. Here's the idiot from Texas, Congressman Dan Shaw. Listen to their stupidity.
Speaker, I rise today in opposition to H.R. 1. And I've always found it interesting that elections are the one thing my colleagues on the other side don't to strictly regulate. See, there's this mythology, it's Democrats, that common sense rules in an election are synonymous with vote suppression. They make it sound like you go through an obstacle course to go vote. This isn't true. It's nonsense, and everybody knows it. Truth is that 4 out of 5 Americans support voter ID laws. Countless Americans have expressed concern because they receive mail-in ballots for people addressed to their homes. They want this fixed, and they don't want the problem to get worse. But this bill makes elections less trustworthy, not more. And trust is everything. When people can see the faults in the process, whether ballots at the wrong house or verification processes, they believe people are cheating. You can't just dismiss that. We have to fix it. But instead, this bill makes permanent the problematic election practices that cause distrust. For example, ballot harvesting, which creates serious chain of custody.
Now, I want you, let me just unpack what you just heard. People have questions. They think it's been stolen. Oh, who told them the lie. Folks like Dan Crenshaw. That's like saying, you stole my lunch money. It's pocket. Yeah, but I think you stole it. It's in your pocket. Yeah, but it doesn't matter that it's actually in my pocket. I think you stole it. Y'all, that's what you're doing. Because Donald Trump went out here and running his men, got these fools all hyped up and concerned. I want y'all new phrase. Integrity. Republican secretaries of state. Republican election chairs all said the election was safe and sound. No, it wasn't. It was not safe. Why do you think it was safe? Because we lost. So you're telling me that had you won, it was safe? Yeah. So you're really not upset because it's unsafe. You're actually upset because you lost. Yeah. So let me get this straight. So because y'all lost, and because y'all are crazy, and because y'all tried to invalidate the votes of black people on January 6th, we somehow are supposed to believe we supposed to trust you dumbasses? Do you for a second I trust any Republican who says voter integrity? No. Do you actually think I'm going to listen to any Republican who believe that Donald Trump had it stolen from him? Hell no. Do you actually think I'm going to waste time reading to these fools? Hell no. News conference today. We live streamed it. Nancy Pelosi speaking on H.R. 1.
Forth to suppress the vote. To suppress the vote. How could it be? How do we pledge allegiance to the flag in this capital, this temple of democracy, while at the same time supporting voter suppression across the country? So what we are doing in this fight that we're engaged in is to empower the people. This is called the For the People bill. And in doing so, we combat big, dark, special interest money in politics and amplify the voice of the American people. We fight foreign interference in our elections. Foreign interference in our elections. We expand voting rights. We fight political gerrymandering, and we crack down on corruption. The bill, as Mr. Sarbanes says, caffeinates every other issue because it gives people confidence that if we come down on the side of the people's interest, not the special interest, we will be able to have policies that are for the people. Policies to help us build back better, to end a pandemic and address economic disparities, end gun violence, and by promoting gun violence prevention, which we hope to do shortly, to have a national reckoning on racial injustice and to address the surging climate crisis, just to name a few issues that are affected, and again, to raise the minimum wage, just to address a few issues that are affected by big, dark money weighing in the Capitol.
Let's go to my panel. A. Scott Bolden, Chair of the National Bar Association Political Action Committee, Presley, Crisis Manager and Law, Robert Patillo, of course, with the Rainbow Push Peachtree Street Project in Atlanta. All right, folks, let's really unpack this, and I want to start with this here. Who the hell needs to have a coming to Jesus conversation with Sinema, Manchin, and Feinstein? Is it Schumer? Is it Biden? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Robert, the same Democrats, they are asking for 50 to 100,000 people to come to D.C. and let them feel that heat if they sit here and not move on this bill once it gets past the House.
You're absolutely right. You know, there's a line from Hamilton where they say we're in a battle for our nation's very soul. That's where we're at as America. And it's no longer Republicans and Democrats. It's the American people, the MAGAs. And they are not going to give up, not going to stand. They will fight to the death. The Libertarian Party has decided to no longer be a political party. And let's just look at the numbers. The last 17 years, Republicans have not won the pop in any presidential election since 2004. Our high school seniors who have never seen a win the popular vote in the presidency. If you want to go back further, before 2004, it was 98 the last time the Republicans won their vote in America, meaning the last 32 years won the popular vote one time. Right now, the Republican senators represent about 41 million fewer American people than the 50 senators. So what they understand, they are no longer a majority party. They represent majority ideas in the American people. And for that, we have to use things such as racial gerrymandering, voter suppression, and other schemes in order to win elections. Donald 2020 did not even attempt the popular vote. He simply carved a thin electoral map that would win re-election for about 66,000 people. 66,000 was really the margin of victory for Biden, because even though he won by 7 million votes, it really came down to about 66 votes in the swing states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada that won him the election. So what Republicans understand is they can and will not allow anything such as the John Lewis Act to go through. Cannot and will not allow any initiatives to reform the vote, because if there was a fair election system in America, as Trump said, if we had to that level, we'll never win again. As Ted Cruz said, if you allow that many people to vote, we will win elections. As was Supreme Court today with regards to the air voter suppression laws, that they are at a competitive advantage the more people that vote. So for these reasons, I think you have to Feinstein and Sinema and Manchin and help understand that your political is not as important as the future of democracy. Your political is not as important as the republic. And if you have to go down in 2022, supported the cause of justice and diversity in this nation, then so be. Stand up for what is right and move the nation forward. And until and unless happens, we will end up with a mere minority rule that pervades to the most extreme of society. And that is where we are at now. We're simply accept mathematics and simple physics, which says Donald Trump lost the election. Those people around you have to end the filibuster. And legislation passed.
The thing here, Monique, is if you're cinema, your ass will lose in 2020 if no action is taken. This section 2, they're targeting Latinos in the West. That's how she won. That's how Mark Kelly won. That's how Biden won. I mean, I'm just trying to understand, what in the hell world are they living in than the rest of us? Do they not see what Republicans are trying to do all across the country? In Arizona, the governor expanded the state Supreme Court 3 or 4 years ago. What the hell? I ain't even from Arizona, and I see and game recognized game.
I was waiting for a question. Hi, everyone.
That was the damn question. That was the question, that was the statement, and the sermon.
It was definitely statement and sermon. Here's the thing. The filibuster is one of those feast or famine type issues. And sometimes our members of Congress are thinking about, yes, we want to get rid of it now because it helps us as we are in power. But if we are not in power in 24 months, what will things look like? How many things will be pushed through, railroaded through, that we would have wished we had the power to stop? So I don't think it is that these particular members are ignoring their constituency or don't stand for these concerns. We know that they do. We know the history of these members. These are things, issues that they support and legislation that they support. So the question, as you asked originally, was who can get through to them? I think ultimately this is going to be a test for new leader Schumer, and this is then going to be a test for the vice president as go-between and for the president in order to bring them over to what is, we believe, the right side. But I think that starts with respect for their positions, because they're not based in folly. They have legitimate concerns.
I ain't respecting shit, Scott. No. Here's the deal. Republicans had no problem getting rid of the filibuster for Supreme Court justices. Now let's go back. They love to say Harry Reid is the reason why we have the problem. No, Senator Harry Reid, when he was majority leader, he said, Republicans, y'all are stopping Obama's district judges. Y'all are stopping the circuit judges. Okay? Reid said, kept waiting, he kept pleading. Republicans like, hell no, we blocking everybody. He then, nuclear option for those judges, kept it in place for appeals court judges as well as for Supreme Court justices. Republicans, it's not right, it's not fair, this is just wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, this is against our rules, this is not bipartisanship. So what happened? McConnell blocked Merrick Garland.
They say we like
Trump wins, he gets the seat. All of a sudden, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. What did McConnell do? Did McConnell respect the filibuster? Did McConnell, was he concerned about the norms and procedures and the process? Was McConnell concerned? Follow me here to what Monique just said. Was McConnell worried about them losing in 2020? Yeah, that's why he did it. And guess what they got? A Supreme Court justice who's young, who they want to be there for the next 40 years. Republicans say, yo, we might lose, but while we got the power, we gonna exercise the power. That's what you do.
Yeah. The Republicans are far more political gangster than the Democrats. And what needs to happen is Manchin and these others need to realize they're in the Democratic Party. And this is about power and accountability. That's the first thing, whether it's Schumer or the vice president or the president. Because here's the thing with HR 1. Those three, it helps them in the Senate. It helps them get reelected. It doesn't cost them their seat. That expands the votes. And most of those people, those voters, I don't care what jurisdiction it is, voted for the Democrats when the Democrats are being suppressed by the Republicans in their home states. And so this expands it. So it's illogical for them to say, I don't want the filibuster when the Republicans from that political gangster party does it. Then we want to have a conversation about policy and righteousness and equality. No, we need some political gangster on our side and say, listen, yes, this is going to be a power move because we don't know 2022 how. We got to get these in line as far as the law for fairness, justice, and equality so that more Democrats get elected in 2022, 24, and 26 and beyond. And we don't know how long this power is going to last because Mitch McConnell and the Republicans would certainly take that view and could care less about being right. All they care about is power. And we need some political gangsters on the Democratic side to feel the same way. You don't go to a gunfight with a knife. We keep showing up with knives. Republicans got guns, right? We need some gunners on our side and just be gangster about political power while we have it.
Georgia State Representative Calvin Smyer joins us right now. Representative Smyer, you're having to deal with this as we speak. You're seeing gangster Republicans use their power for that power. Are you calling on Sinema Feinstein to stop tripping on the filibuster and say we will pass this voting bill? Because otherwise, if the Democrats in Congress do not pass this bill, y'all are screwed in Georgia. Black folks are screwed in North Carolina, as well as in Florida and other states.
Well, the front that we're facing now, Martin, Roland, is the attempt to roll back the gains that we made in the state of Georgia. The bill that we just, I'm on the special committee for integrity that was just recently appointed. Just voted a couple of days ago on House Bill 531, which was the regret suppression bill that passed on the floor of the House. So any help we get naturally from Congress, we welcome it. But we had a difficult fight on the House as we looked at issues that deal with early voting. And anytime you cause voter confusion, they cause a voter suppression. So we're trying our best to fight back here in Georgia as it relates to all the bills that are coming forth. We had 9 bills introduced in the Georgia House based on the voting in the last election. So that's what we're dealing with here in the state of Georgia as we speak.
And let's be clear here. What's happening in Georgia, they have the power. They control the House. They control the Senate. They control the governor's mansion. In their own bill, they are stripping power from the Republican Secretary of State because they're mad that he believed fairness and not partisanship. They don't give a damn about rules.
Yeah. Well, you make a point there. The Secretary is elected statewide as the chief election officer in our state. And the bill that just was passed, a governor would appoint a civilian, an individual to oversee the election. And when they do, they become chairman of the state election board. So why do you need a Secretary of State when you're going to appoint one that will oversee the elections in Georgia? And to me, that is so contrary, and that's total bad public policy.
If you had a chance to come to Washington, D.C., and you were sitting in front of Manchin, Sienna, and Feinstein, what do you tell them?
Well, this juncture, state legislators, and especially in southern states, Roland, you've seen what happens in the southern states. And the rolling back of any voting right is a very difficult process for us, especially those of us that live in southern states. And when we lost, most of our powers lost on preclearance, as you remember, in the Rights Act. And now we don't have that as a backstop. So what troubles us mostly in the states is that when we face reapportionment, we're ready to now to apportion later this year entire House and Senate here in the state of Georgia, and we don't have a pre-clearance as a backstop, and so we don't have the Attorney General nor the Justice Department to assist in that process. To me, that is one of the most needed weapons that we had in this. But when the Republicans took the national level, of course, they eliminated pre-clearance. So we can use all the help we can here when it comes to the political situation in our southern state. And you understand that scenario. And now we have House, the Senate, and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's one of those things that anytime we can get some assistance, we certainly would appreciate.
And because the Supreme Court invalidated Section 4, you don't have pre-clearance. That means whatever action they take on districts, y'all can't. They control the whole process. I mean, what can y'all do?
Bingo. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Without pre-clearance, the only thing we do is go to the courts. We have no relief as it relates to the Justice Department because of the court decision. But at the same time, I think there needs to be some communication, some discussion between the members of Congress and the various southern states, because we do need relief, and we do need this because controlling the House, the Senate, and the governor's office, we have such a handicap. And now that we have all three branches of government at the federal level, now's the time to provide any kind of relief that can send our way. Now's the time to do it.
Representative Lamar of Georgia, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Roland, for the thought you're engaging. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, folks. Today, Terry Sewell represents the of Alabama. This is what she said about H.R. 1.
Proud representative of Alabama's Civil Rights District, Birmingham, Montgomery, and Selma. It is my honor to be the lead sponsor of H.R. 4, the John Roberts Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which, along with H.R. 1, will restore democracy for the people. This Sunday, March 7th, we will commemorate Bloody Sunday. Our nation will reflect on the extraordinary sacrifices made by ordinary Americans in my hometown of Selma, Alabama. These foot soldiers were beaten. They shed a little blood on a bridge in Selma, daring to march for the right, the equal right to vote for all Americans. Never did I think that the cause for which our beloved colleague, Congressman John Lewis, and the foot soldiers, the cause for which they marched 56 years ago, the Voting Rights Act, would again require congressional action to restore its full protections. This reminds us that progress is elusive, and every generation must fight and fight again. As we see in the state legislatures across this country, and even in a court case before the Supreme Court this week, the right to vote is under attack. We know that our democracy works best when everyone can participate fully. But we also know that voter suppression is alive and well. Old battles have become new again. The legacy of the foot soldiers like John Lewis requires that we pick up that baton, and the baton of voter access, the baton of voter equality, and we continue the next leg. Their cause is now our cause too. Progress is only made when we demand it, when we fight for it. John said, ours is not a struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is a struggle for not just one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is a struggle for a lifetime, and each and every one of us must do our part. We in Congress, we leaders must lead, but every American must vote. We need to make sure that access to the ballot box is assured by everyone. As I close, I am reminded of John's last visit to the bridge. Every year we had an opportunity with John and Faith in Politics to go on a pilgrimage. John, last year was the 55th anniversary, and many of us didn't think he was going to attend, but he did. He did. John fights for what he believes in, and he stands up in times of good trouble. I want to remind all of our colleagues of his last call to action on that day. Stricken with cancer, John said, never give up, never give in. We must keep our eyes on the prize. We must pass H.R. 1 and H.R. 4 and truly restore democracy to America for the people.
Robert, final round of comments on this here. Again, this represents an existential threat. If Democrats in Senate don't take this seat, they are guaranteeing they're going to lose in 2022. You talk about the opportunity, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin. They could pick up 3 seats to expand that majority from 50 to 53. If they don't have the protection, they could lose anywhere from 3 to 4 seats.
Well, let's understand something. If the president wants the filibuster to go away, filibuster will go away. If Chuck Schumer wants filibuster to go away, the filibuster away. There's a story of when they were passing the Civil Rights Act before. He couldn't get a senator on the phone that he'd weigh his vote. So they said Jay went to the senator's office, a man's desk butt naked with a cowboy on, and waited for the senator there, and then said, "I'll see you for me." Guess what? They got the bill passed, saying that we need to go through those structures. But you can go through a senator such as or Joe Manchin. Doesn't want to vote to end the filibuster, or even Feinstein, you can remove their committee assignments. You can bump them down the rankings. There are various legislative means that can be taken, but it starts with the president's statement saying that he believes that it's worth it, that is needed, the filibuster, and instructs us to do so. I think if they do, then that is the way that you will get to come on board and how we can finally pass some of these in the Senate.
Monique, I think President Joe Biden is still operating that the Senate today is the Senate when he was there. No, it ain't.
I don't think that.
Well, he sure as hell act like it.
I mean, he's not obtuse. He's not dumb. He's not ignorant. He's not somebody who doesn't pay attention to news. He's not somebody who doesn't know people. He's not somebody who isn't an astute politician.
But hold on. If that's all true, then if that's all true, why did he say during the campaign that, I think when Donald Trump is no longer there, Republicans are going to return the Republican Party that they were before? They haven't.
He didn't say they would return to the Republican Party that they were before. He said it would be easier to work with them, and I think that will prove true.
No, he actually said they will return to the Republican Party before. That's what he said.
I mean, that's not good either. But my point is, I tend to not, with our leaders who I know, like our vice president and president, are very, very smart and very experienced and very astute, and have been in rooms I haven't been in, and had to do votes I haven't had to do, and had to pass bills I haven't had to pass. I tend to credit them as not being ignoramuses. That doesn't mean I agree with them, but I don't think that they're clueless or stupid or slow or any of those things. That's why I voted for them, because if I thought they were clueless or stupid or slow, I wouldn't have. So what I think, though, is that some of the things that we deal with are going to take time, and we as American citizens who are voting constituents have to insist upon our voices being heard every step of the way, not necessarily with, oh my God, this, I'm watching Twitter, people saying this is bullshit, this is blah, this is blah, this is, and I'm like, that's instructive. But with what we said we were going to do, hold them to the fire and make our voices known, make our desires known, so that there is no option but to go forward on the things that are essential. And this is one of those times. I don't disagree with Robert. I'm sure I don't disagree with whatever Scott's about to say next. I just believe that our time is better spent pushing for action than pulling down people.
Scott, not a single Republican in the House voted for the COVID bill.
Not one.
Go.
Well, it just shows you how power-driven and how difficult Republicans want to make Democrats. They're not interested in bipartisanship. They're interested in biding their time because they expect to win in 2020 with Trumpism. And if the Democrats don't figure it out, that bipartisanship means biding time, then they need to be reelected, or they need new people serving on the Democratic Party side in the House and Senate. Now, with Joe Manchin, this is what we need to do with Joe. You call Joe over to the corner and say, what is it that you want? Somebody needs to find out what he wants, right? And if it doesn't cost too much, because the future is now on H.R. 1 and H.R. 4, we don't get it now, we may never get it as you laid out. Give him what he wants. Give him political cover, and therefore
no.
for the rest of this term.
Joe doesn't want political cover. Joe Manchin has exactly what he wants.
What does he want then?
No, he has exactly what he wants. That is
just power.
That power to say yay or nay.
That's the recalcitrant.
That's the difference. That's a difference. That's what he got exactly what he wanted. He is.
Well, if he's going to, he's got a new name, enabler of the Republican Party, while the Democrats are in power.
I got you.
He needs to just say he's a Republican then.
Well,
chief enabler then.
Well, keep in mind the West Virginia won as a Democrat and then flipped to Republicans when Trump got in. We'll to break when we come back. We'll talk with Lamar Jones, who last in first St. Louis mayoral race. Now she moves on to the runoff. She's next on Roland Martin Uncensored.
Donald Trump is not done dividing America. He's come out of hiding to find his old friend, the spotlight. On Sunday, he took the stage at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Orlando, Florida, where he lobbed insults, spread conspiracies, and lied.
This election was rigged. And
the same things he's done for 4 years, with no concern for the destruction he leaves behind. He'll get the attention he craves. After all, even condemning him feeds his insatiable need to be seen. Which is why it's more important than ever to remind ourselves that in November, one thing became clear. America is not Donald Trump. America is the people whose names you may never hear, whose only fame will be among those whose lives they touch, but who are the best of America, all the same. They're doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, the people working tirelessly to get every American vaccinated against COVID-19. They're the disaster relief workers and first responders, holding up their Texas neighbors during the harshest winter the state has ever seen. They're the people who show up, lend a hand, and give a damn when their fellow Americans are in need. Remember them. The lives they lead are the best proof that Trump is a liar. Because America's greatness comes from us, not him.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are you geolocating people through the FBI based on where they were on January 6th?
He asked you about the geolocation and metadata aspects and gathering related to gathering of metadata, that is related to your investigation into the January 6th riot. Tell me what you know about this.
So is the FBI accessing cell phone tower metadata from telecommunications companies?
Shortly after 2 p.m., as the siege was fully underway, Senator Lee describes it, phone rang. It was Donald Trump.
I hope you can understand my concern.
Sure, you can appreciate my concern here.
Hello, I'm Bishop T.D.
Hi, y'all doing? It's your favorite funny girl, Amanda Seals.
Hi, I'm Anthony Brown from Anthony Brown and Group Therapy.
What up, Lana Well, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, last night, St. Louis, voters went to the polls in the mayoral election. They picked two candidates. First of all, it was a new vote as well, but actually vote for up to 4 candidates last night. The two folks who came out on top, Lamar Jones, you might recall, of course, Cedar, we were there a couple of weeks ago, facing Aldo and Kara Spencer on April 6th. Shara came in first with 57 of the votes. Spencer came in with 40. Joining us right now is Treasurer Jones. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Roland?
Doing great. You feel a little bit different this time than the last time when you lost in the general to the current mayor. Now, of course, there were 3 African-American candidates running for St. Louis mayor. You dispatched, they came in fourth, so it's you and Kara Spencer in the runoff. So how do you feel?
I feel great. I feel confident. The voters definitely spoke yesterday. We won out of 28 wards. We won 18. And then also we led by more than 5,000 votes or 10 points. So we feel really confident going into the runoff. For the folks who don't realize, you've been on the constant duress and attack from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. They have trashed you every turn. Of course, endorsed Spencer and another candidate in this election. And also the St. Louis Police Union cannot stand you as well. Do you believe that for black voters there in St. Louis and progressive white voters, those are two good folks to hate you? That fuels your folks? I don't think that anybody's really paying attention to the Post-Dispatch. As far as their readership in the city of St. Louis, it's about 6,000 in a city of 300,000. So obviously their readership is declining. And for the police officers union, most of them live outside the city. So their influence isn't that great.
So how are you going to be running against the woman who, again, the Post-Dispatch talked about how smart she is and a great progressive. You got 2 progressives, frankly. What case you're going to make to the voters in St. Louis for you to be the mayor?
Well, the case I'm going to make to the voters to pick me is that I am ready to lead on day one. I don't sit here and talk about plans and haven't implemented anything. I've actually been implementing visions and platforms in the treasurer's office for the last 8 years. I have totally transformed 2 departments in city government and created a 3rd. The voters deserve someone who's going to be ready to lead, who has relationships on the state and national level to put St. Louis back on the map.
Obviously, you got a month now. And how are y'all running? Are they actually having debates? Are they virtual? What's actually going to happen with the both of you running?
So the debates forums are going to continue to be virtual. The invitations are already coming in from one of our local radio stations, League of Women Voters, some of the ward organizations. So we will continue to have forums in a virtual environment. And people will be able to choose who they want as mayor on April 6th.
And last question for you. Youngers propel Congresswoman Cori Bush to Congress. How is that also looking for you?
We are definitely popular amongst young voters. We have one of the most diverse coalitions in the city, and that's what propelled us to victory on last night. It's multi-generational, multi-ethnic, just diverse in all ways, shapes, and forms, because we actually do the outreach to communities that feel left behind. We translated our campaign materials into Bosnian, Spanish, and Mandarin, which are communities that are growing in St. Louis, to let people know that we see them and that we appreciate their seat at the table.
All right, then. Lamar Jones, well, certainly congratulations. Good luck on April 6th. And we are monitoring this race. And hopefully on April 7th, we can be wishing congratulations as a new mayor of St. Louis.
Oh, thank you, Roland. And thank you for all of your support. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. All right, folks, let's go back to Capitol. Today, the head of the National Guard testimony
It explains exactly what happened on January 6th and who not to give him the right order to muster guard. But listen to what he says, what they said to him when Black Lives Matter protested in D.C.
I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss the events of January 6th, a dark chapter in our nation's history. I was personally sickened by the violence and destruction I witnessed that fateful day and the physical and mental harm that came to U.S. Capitol Police officers and Metropolitan Police Department officers, some of whom I met with later that evening, and I could see the injuries that they sustained. It is my hope that my recollection of the events and my presentation of the facts as I know them will help your committees in its investigation and prevent such tragic events from ever occurring again. First, I think it's critical to understand what the District of Columbia National Guard mission was on January 6th to include the civilian agency we were supporting and our request for support of other civilian authorities were handled. On December 31st, 2020, the District of Columbia National Guard received written requests from the District of Columbia Mayor, Muriel Bowser, and her Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez. The request sought national support for traffic control and crowd management for planned demonstrations in the district from January 5th through January 6, 2021. After conducting mission analysis to support the district's request, I sent a letter to the Secretary of the Army, Ryan McCarthy, on January 1st requesting his approval. I received that approval in a letter dated January 5th, granting support to the Metropolitan Police Department for 320 Guardsmen personnel to include a 40 personnel quick reaction force. The District of Columbia National Guard provides support to the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Park Police, the United States Secret Service, and other federal and district law enforcement agencies in response to planned rallies, marches, protests, and other large-scale First Amendment activity on a routine basis. A standard component of such support is the stand-up of a site quick reaction force, an element of guardsmen held in reserve with civil disturbance risk equipment, helmets, shields, batons, etc., posture to quickly respond to an immediate need for assistance by civil authorities. The Secretary of the Army's January 5th letter to me held that authority for me to deploy a quick reaction force. Additionally, the Secretary of the Army's memorandum to me required that a concept operation submitted to him before the employment of a quick reaction force. I found that required to be unusual, as was the requirement to approval to move guardsmen so the Metropolitan Police Department to move from one traffic control point to another. At 1:30 p.m. on January 6th, we watched as the Metropolitan Police Department began to deploy officers to support the Capitol Police. In doing so, the officers began to withdraw from the traffic control points that were jointly manned with District of Columbia Guardsmen. At 1:49 p.m., I received a frantic call from then Chief of United States Capitol Police and Son, where he informed me that the security perimeter of the United States Capitol had been breached by hostile rioters. Chief Son, his voice cracking with emotion, indicated that there was a dire emergency at the Capitol, and he requested the immediate assistance of as many available National Guardsmen that I muster. Immediately after that 1:39 call, I alerted the U.S. Army seniorship of the request. The approval for Chief Son's request would actually come from the Acting Secretary of Defense and be relayed to me by Army seniors at 5:08 p.m., about 3 hours and 19 minutes later. I had already had guardsmen on buses at the Armory ready to move to the Capitol. Consequently, at 5:20 p.m., less than 20 minutes, the District of Columbia National Guard arrived at the Capitol and were being sworn in by the United States Police. We helped establish the security perimeter at the east side of the Capitol to facilitate the resumption of the joint session of Congress. In conclusion, I am grateful for the guardsmen from the 53 states and territories who supported the District of Columbia National Guard Operation Capitol Response, helped to ensure a peaceful transition on January 20th. In particular, I am grateful for the timely assistance from our close neighbors from Virginia, Delaware, Maryland National Guard, augmented D.C. National Guard forces in establishing the security perimeter. I am honored to lead these citizens and airmen. These are your constituents, many of whom left behind their families, careers, their education, their businesses, to help ensure the protection and safety of the United States Capitol, those who serve in it every day.
General Walker, I'll start my questioning by going back in time a little bit prior to the events on January 6th. So my question is, in June of 2020, as violence was escalating during the summer protest, were you able to immediately receive approval from the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of Defense to deploy National Guard to assist law enforcement at that time?
Senator Peters, I was. Yes, sir. The Secretary of the Army was with me for most of that week. He came to the Armory. I was in constant communication with when we were not together.
So you were immediately able to receive approval June of 20. From your testimony, I want to be clear. Were you able to immediately receive approval from the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of Defense to deploy the National Guard on January 6th?
No, sir.
In your opening remarks, you said that a January 5th memo was unusual. Could you explain to the committee why it was unusual and what was the impact of the memo that you received on January 5th?
So the memo was unusual in that it required me to seek authorization from the Secretary of Army and the Secretary of Defense to essentially even protect my guardsmen. So no civil disturbance could be authorized unless it came from Secretary of Defense. Now, the Secretary of the Army, to his credit, did tell me that I could have force protection equipment with guardsmen. So we did have helmets, shin guards, vest. We did have that with us, but that came from Secretary of the Army. The Secretary told me I needed his permission to escalate to have that kind of protection.
That kind of protection, even though it would be engaged in force protection, that to protect your men and women, before you could do that, you would have to get approval from the Secretary of Defense?
The memo from the Secretary of Defense made clear that I needed his permission to have, so what it says, without my authorization, the District of Columbia National Guard is not authorized the following: to be issued weapons, ammunition, that's batons, or ballistic protection equipment such as helmets, body armor. Now, again, to be clear, the Secretary of the Army told me to go ahead and issue that equipment. So we never were going to have weapons or ammunition and no longer have bayonets. But we do ballistic equipment, helmets, body armor. And so I did have that with each guardsman.
Thank you, General.
General Walker, if the restrictions on your authorities hadn't been put in place by DOD, what would you have done when Chief Sund called you at 1:49 on January 6th with an urgent request for National Guard assistance?
I would have immediately pulled all the guardsmen that were supporting the Metropolitan Police Department. They had the gear in the vehicles. I would have had them assemble in the Armory and then get on buses and go straight to the Armory and report to the most ranking Capitol Police officer they saw and take direction. And further, just let me add this. So one of my lieutenant colonels, his own initiative, went to Capitol anticipating that we were going to be called. So he would have been there, and he met with Deputy Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police Department, who asked him, where is the National Guard? How come not here? And this colonel said, well, I'm sure they're coming, and I'm here to scout out where they're going to be when they get here. So that was the plan. I would have sent them there immediately. As soon as I hung up, my next call would have been subordinate commanders, get every single guardsman in this building and everybody that's helping the Metropolitan Police, mission them to the Capitol with LA.
This, y'all, was an absolute inside job. There's no way around this, Monique. None.
No, none at all. I'm left speechless. I hope that Americans are hearing this testimony. I believe that from the very beginning, from the day that I was here on the show, that all of it took place, which was January 6th. But it's just plain now. I mean, there's no arguing that, and they need to dig and dig until every single person responsible is held accountable.
It was interesting, Scott, to listen to Republicans ask question commander
knowing damn well that if a Democrat White House had done that, be raised with holy hell and losing their minds. You don't trust the troops, don't value cops. A cop died. One had lost 3 fingers, one lost his eye. And these folks act like it was a picnic on the lawn January 6th.
Oh, very reserved, of course. But if those are 1,000 Black Lives Matter, people who had gotten shot and laid out in front of the Capitol, which they would have been had they been black folk, you would have said it was necessary, those same Republicans, it's necessary to protect democracy and our liberty and our freedom of the Capitol. But let me tell you something for your viewers, because I've done a lot of internal investigation, okay? You don't just look at documents, you don't just interview the lead people. You go up down that line, Roland, until you get to the link, witness that is going to link the communication, because it won't be in writing, the stand down communication. Somebody willing to come forward of the truth that the Department of Defense and Homeland Security were told today, stand down, and that regardless of violence, that they were certainly not to be there in order to prevent, quote, bloodshed. And that is an order that came directly from the White House. And if you investigate it long enough, if you set up the commission, you hire outside counsel, and you're really thorough because you wanted the truth, that's what the ultimate report will say. It won't be conspiracy theorists. It'll be factually based. And then that needs to be published, right? And then the bad actor need to be prosecuted. Because you're just touching the surface based on the testimony, the public testimony. They need to go behind closed doors with hundreds of witnesses until you get to the link we have not heard. The actual witness that says, I was in the room when the order to stand from the White House came in. It's coming. Just sit tight.
Robert, to sit there and watch co-conspirators ask questions is pretty funny and pretty ballsy.
Well, absolutely. And I think any banana look on earth, and I don't like that antiquated, would understand certain people need to recuse those from these hearings. The people who need to recuse those are the people who are the conspirators in the which took place. And frankly, the people who are going to be facing not expulsion from the Senate, but maybe criminal people like Hawley. We heard the from Congress, people saying that there was a woman who was tweeting out the location of the Speaker of the House during the insurrection. The individuals, which is very easy to find, the individuals who were giving guided tours throughout the Capitol at a time where tours were banned at the Capitol, and those people are coming forward, seeing the QAnon shaman say that he is willing to come forward and testify as to their connection. Alex Jones has said he wants to go before a Senate committee on these issues. So the truth is going to come out. But right, there's a special level of gumption that's required for Hall and some of these others to sit there and try to question what happened, the witnesses. And there's a quote here that I like where he says, "You can convince a man of absurdity, you can force him into atrocities." That is what we're seeing. Republicans in these they've been so corrupted, so into this idea of voter fraud and losing their country. This goes far back before David Duke was talking about this in the 80s. The hilarity is coming in the 20, will be a majority-minority nation. They are so willing to believe those absurdities that they will admit the very atrocities what they were going to that they prevent going forward. We saw holding statue at Peak. These people are completely different wavelength. And if we're going to go back to negotiating with them, his Tip O'Neill and Ted Kennedy or something along those lines, it's realistic. We have the fight that's in front of us, and right now we fight with every weapon we have.
Look, these people.
Roland, one other thing.
Go ahead.
That that witness list has got to include those House of Representatives and the senators mentioned by my colleague. They've got to put them under oath. The question is, do the Democrats, they hold on to leadership, have the guts and the fortitude to put them under oath as well? They should.
Well, look, these fools haven't stopped. They're not going to stop. Now we have where you have folks that they have actionable intelligence that same white domestic terrorists plan to do harm on March 4th, tomorrow, which is like this. In this QAnon conspiracy, Monique, they believe that Trump rides the white horse back into the White House.
Yes, they do. They do. It's insane. I watched one of the women who was at CPAC, not inside the doors, but outside, explaining how just from 1776 to now, he's about to assume his rightful place, and it is lunacy, truly. And that is the proof that not just that there's this remnant out there that can be molded or that has this belief system, but that as news organizations very different than yours, Roland, who just carry the story over and over again with zero responsibility, with zero ethics in the way that they do it, because it gets clicks and it gets views. It has led our country into a sewer. And we have people who really are in the desert putting sand in their mouth and calling it water. And that's why leadership matters so much. Leaders lead. They lead by example. They understand the responsibility. There are rules, there are boundaries. As President Obama, President Biden will say, we don't have to agree on positions, but we got to agree on the same set of facts. And that's not where we are. As Robert just said, no, it's very binary right now. They're in an entire different world. They have created one for themselves with an alternate type of system and facts. And anytime they start losing people, they create. So see, it was supposed to happen on Inauguration Day. And since that didn't happen, they were losing people. They came up with March 4th. And so there's no reason to think that all of these people that are in the black market, that are the underbelly of the internet and of the web, the dark web, there's no reason to think that they are not being spurned on by current members of Congress, prior members of the administration, in order to do their bidding.
Look, if you want to see the kind of idiots that we're dealing with, this is the kind of idiot in Missouri. And I'm doing this for a reason, because this impacts the next story that we're doing. These are the kind of idiots who are appealing to these deranged white domestic terrorists. Listen to Josh Hawley.
Speaking of being canceled, the last 6 weeks, the radical left, their corporate allies, the liberal media have tried to cancel me, censor me, expel me, shut me down, stop me from representing the people of Missouri, me from representing you. And guess I'm here today. I'm not going in, and I'm not backing. Not a chance. Not a chance. And neither are you, am I right? You're not going to back down. You're not going anywhere. I just want to say to those people who, speaking of being canceled, the last 6 weeks.
This is the person who, for a civil rights pro, a St. Louis prosecutor, Kim Gardner, last year. This is over those idiots McCloskeys who pulled the guns out when they had the protest there in St. Louis. Now, and just to understand again the crazy level that's happening there in Missouri, listen to this. Okay, the case of Lamar Johnson, black man who Kim Gardner says she believes was wrongfully convicted for murder over 25 years ago. Tuesday, the Missouri Supreme Court refused to grant Johnson a new trial, saying that Kim Gardner, who is the city DA, lacked the authority to appeal a case after it was adjudicated. Johnson was convicted in 1994 for killing a man over a suspected dispute. He says he's innocent. Gardner's office announced whether they will appeal to the court. The thing about this case is that the Hawleys of the world don't care that Gardner's office has concluded that the man is innocent. These Republicans in Missouri, Scott, are perfectly content with this black man sitting in jail to have a prosecutor come forward and say, we have investigated and this man is innocent, saying, don't matter, don't have the authority. We don't care. Stay the hell in jail. That's the state that Josh Hawley comes from. And who is Josh Hawley? The former general.
And that's the state Supreme Court that he comes from, and where Kim is, and where that defendant is incarcerated. You know, you need two to tango. You need a prosecutor to bring the case and prosecute, and then the judge will sentence, and then the defense obviously gives the defendant their best defense. Here, this is so highly unusual. Most jurisdictions catch-all statute, my colleagues know, that says any of this, anytime, no matter how many years, can be brought back in the interest of justice. And when it's in the interest of justice, most courts will give you a hearing, especially federal or state prosecutor says, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. We think he's innocent, and we think he needs a new trial, or that he ought to be released from prison. That is extraordinary decision by a prosecutor, no matter the state, federal or local, an extraordinary decision. And for the Supreme Court, and again, I'm no expert on Missouri law, says that she doesn't have the authority to do that, well then who the hell has the authority to do it? In most jurisdictions, nobody else has the authority. If the government says they made a mistake, or if the government opposes the release, then the justices have a decision to make. But saying that the prosecutor has no authority, well then where does this young man go for justice then? They're running out of institutions that can grant him justice when a grave mistake has been made. So her only choice is to go to the Supreme Court. I suggest or recommend or think that she probably will, but there's got to be something or some quirk in the law that the state Supreme Court is hanging their hat on. It'd be interesting to see whether they're elected at the state Supreme Court or appointed, and whether they're Republicans or not, because that'll tell you a lot about their policies and their politics. But more importantly, there's got to be somewhere this defendant or this person incarcerated can go with justice when the government says you're innocent or believes that you deserve a new trial. That makes no sense to have nowhere to go for justice.
Here's what's interesting, Robert. The Missouri Supreme Court said, the case is not whether Johnson is innocent or there exists a remedy for someone who is innocent and did not receive a constitutional fair trial. This case presents only issue of whether there is authority to appeal the dismissal of a motion for a new trial filed decades after a criminal conviction became final. No such authority exists, therefore, the court dismisses the appeal. Now, the Republican Attorney General, he argued that Gardner lacked authority to seek a new trial after the case was adjourned. Now, here's the deal. Okay. Smith spokesman, I'm reading Associated Press story, said the ruling makes it clear that the law does not allow the circuit attorney's office to file for a new trial almost 20 years too late. First of all, in office 25 years ago. Our often not to count on innocence or guilt, but sure that the rule of held and the proper procedure is followed, and as it did. Well, shit, Monique. Well, if you're the attorney general of the damn state, and you're saying, sorry, Kim Gardner, you don't have the authority, well, damn it, find out who does.
Yeah.
That's not their desire.
Well, it's not about their desire, Roland. We have the power. So I have to agree with what Scott said, because I think maybe he wasn't willing, or maybe he just didn't feel like it tonight, but I will buck all of it and say plainly, they're right on the law. They're following the law. She is 25 years too late, not her, but the office is 25 years too late according to the law as it exists now in the state. That doesn't mean that there's not a remedy in equity.
He's got to have somewhere to go for justice, Monique. Where does he go?
I'm not saying there's not somewhere to go. I'm saying where they went is not it, Scott, and we know that because we are looking plainly at what the law says.
So where do you go? Okay, so here's the deal.
Where does he go?
Where do you go?
You got to change the law, right? Don't you have to change the law? And don't you, while you're trying to change the law, bring all these brilliant minds, you know, like Scott and Robert and Ben and me and whoever, don't you bring them to bear and maybe look 20 years back and try to figure out, here's my first idea that I'm just going to throw out. Look and see if there was insufficiency of counsel, because if there was insufficiency of counsel when it was supposed to be filed, maybe we can peel back time that way. And so maybe it's not in this DA's office, but this DA's office, this circuit county attorney has brought it to light, and now we've got to scavenge our way. But see, we can't expect them to do what they're not supposed to do. What we have to do when there is an unjust law is change it.
Okay, but hold up. Okay, but here's the deal, though. First of all, wait. So here's the deal. Robert, this is the AP story. Gardner said there was misconduct by one of her office's former prosecutors. That secret payment to the witness, that police testified in testimony. Well, damn!
You're
So he
absolutely
got to
right.
sit in jail?
Wait. Robert, go ahead.
Well, to Nick's point, let's understand that if the law, what the law says, then change the damn law. That seems like that's something they could quit fast and in a hurry.
We're talking the Republican Missouri legislature.
Right.
Roland,
okay.
I understand, but I started watching this show a couple weeks ago called WandaVision. And it's a show, the white house is everything. And then she goes crazy. She creates her own world in her own universe where she's a troll. She has the power, and it's the 1950s and not a lot of minorities around. We can call this MAGA vision because these people have a MAGA vision of what's going on, where they are in control of everything, where they don't have to worry about minority rights, where they don't have to worry about the needs of the people as of financing their corporate interests. So it has to happen now. How long it takes is, if you don't have the legislators in place that are needed, then you have to put in the consecrated effort to overcome voter suppression, overcome gerrymandering, flip the state legislature. Eventually,
Robert, you can't Republican. No.
Okay.
Hold
You gotta let me say this.
It's Scott. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not about flipping Republicans. It's about replacing Republicans. That Georgia, the demographics changed. Georgia became. Demographics in Missouri are similar. It takes money, the ground organized, all the stuff that Roland was just doing for the fifth runoff. Those in St. Louis metro areas there, and start getting seats back, and you flip the state and those things through. Elections have come.
Okay.
So this is what the law says, and they are really in line with the law.
I got another pathway for my colleague. Let me give you another pathway, and you agree with it, guys. All righty. So they get rebuffed by the state Supreme Court. There is no time limitation on obtaining a writ of habeas corpus. That is, they filed with the federal court to produce the body, if you will. A federal judge in Missouri who has a lifetime appointment orders the body be produced, the incarcerated be produced. He or she holds a hearing, and the government agrees with the defense that he was wrongfully incarcerated, and you get a federal judge to issue an order for a new trial, or in the alternative for his release. That's how you get
it. And Scott,
exhausted already. And there's no time limitation on that.
Scott, okay, so you cook with grease now, right? You cooking with grease. You can fry some fish. We can have some crawfish. We can do a lot of things with that hot grease that you're cooking with now. So the amount of time that was spent,
what's the but?
You know, kicking against the prick with the law that we know is not on the side of the poor circuit county attorney. She did the best she could. But I mean, and I'm not calling out the defense attorneys, whoever this man's defense attorneys are. God bless you, whoever you are. I know you're probably there working for free. But no.
Hold up. First of all, hold up. Just facts. His defense attorney is long gone. The Missouri Innocence Project has been working with Kim Gardner's office on this the moment she got elected. That's how it even got this far.
Okay, but Roland, the theory.
I'm just giving facts.
And the theory of the case is wrong, and every branch of the Innocence Project isn't the same. And the dude who just finished talking, they would want to listen to him because he might know some ways around it. That's
okay. Fine. So while the two of y'all write this up in the I'm talking. One, two of y'all write that up, and then I'll send to Kim Gardner.
I'm good with it.
And Kim Gardner
Can
will
Robert
probably
join?
tell you
That's all I
why
was
you
saying.
can or cannot do that.
Well, here, why don't we just ask her? So let's see here.
Okay, call her up. Got a number?
Who you think you talking to?
He gonna call her up.
Who the hell you
He'll
think?
call her.
Who the hell you think you
He
talking
gonna
to?
call her.
Who the hell you think you talking to, Scott?
He ain't gonna call her. He gonna call her.
Let's get somewhere. I'm excited
Hey,
about
Kim.
this.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm on the air right now, and we talk about this. I'm literally on the air. We talk about the Lamar Johnson case. So Scott Bolden has a legal idea to try to move the thing forward. You hear what he has to say?
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna have a control room call you. We're gonna pull you up. Control room, get ready to call because we're talking about this case. We're trying to figure out, okay, how can we, what action can take, what's next to get this brother free. So they're gonna call you back in 10 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye bye. Hold on.
I told you he was gonna do it.
Hold on.
He's a mess.
Let's go. Let's
He's
go.
just a
Let's
mess.
go.
See, this is why Chelsea, that's the phone number. Y'all call Kim on FaceTime audio or FaceTime video. Y'all give a call right now. See, this also why y'all doing that.
That's why we ain't on network TV.
While y'all doing that,
Network TV, you can't just do this.
This is why you guys support a black show. This is why you guys support a black show.
We got three lawyers and a journal.
See, this right here, why y'all now keep me on the three. This is why y'all support a black show, because you ain't gonna get this on MSNBC, CNN.
Solution.
The host ain't gonna call somebody on the air. This show we doing is the actual show that I pitched to CNN back in 2007, which I called a scripted, unscripted show, where you just take it wherever you want to take it, and that's what we doing right here. That's why y'all gotta support us with our Bring the Funk fan club. So y'all should support us at Cash App, $, pull the graphic up, $, Cash App, $, RM Unfiltered, PayPal.me/R Venmo.com/RM Unfiltered. My Zelle is at RolandMartin.com or Roland@MartinUnfiltered.com. So that's how we do it. Pull Kim on audio. I don't need Kim on video. Pull her on audio. All right, Kim. Okay, so Scott, Kim Gardner is on the phone. So Scott, Kim, we've already told everybody the Lamar Johnson case, the Missouri Supreme Court denying it, Attorney General saying you didn't have standing, it was too late. We were talking about with these three lawyers, what's next? Scott says this should happen next. Scott, go.
Hey, Kim, Scott Bolden. The alternative, I thought, and there, as to whether there any reason why the defendant and the Innocence Project haven't brought a writ of habeas corpus to the federal court for them to produce the body before a federal judge, have a hearing, and hopefully get the federal judge to order either his release or that he get a new trial with your office support of the defense request for that writ.
Kim?
Yeah, I believe that's a avenue, and that's where I think that we have to find a way, because in case, as you know, this is not about, everybody thinks this is about the rights of, what it is about a wrongfully convicted man, but it's the rights of a prosecutor to correct in job, the constitutional duty, correct a wrongful conviction, and to be true ministers of justice. We take an oath, not just to the laws of the state of free, actually the Constitution. And so you're basically saying that prosecutor finds wrongdoing, has no mechanism, and the procedural bar is so great that we can't do our job. And this is serious. This is whether a prosecutor can actually be minister of justice the thing that we should be. How can we this ruling?
Yeah.
So Kim, hold on. So Kim, hold on, Scott. Hold on. So Kim, you chose to go process to see if you could actually pursue this. You took it to the state Supreme Court. Now that they've said no, you don't have the authority. Now figure out another route.
Yes, we will figure out another route. And my goal is, because I think we have to, prosecutors, is fundamental to our job, our duty, and to the whole integrity of the criminal justice system, to find a mechanism to correct the wrong. And we should not be it by just the procedure barriers that we are, the Supreme Court in Missouri. And that's, to me, is devastating, because justice when we secure conviction just should all be obtained and followed through prosecutor even after a conviction is attained. And that's what we talk about, the constitutional oath. Where is that at the Lamar Johnson case? And so like people think it's just about Lamar. It's about a prosecutor's right duty that we all know control a lot in the criminal system, and we're the justice. And so you're basically saying a prosecutor has no duty to wrongful convictions. And I just the Supreme Court.
Scott, go ahead. Then Monique, then Robert. Scott, go ahead.
Which would in fact leave him in legal purgatory in an unjust system whereby you as the prosecutor knows that he was wrongfully convicted. And so I agree the short-term effect would be for you to ask for a hearing and it went to the state Supreme Court and to see if you could just get just that way. In the alternative, though, seeking a federal court order on the writ of habeas corpus with you supporting the defense motion and supporting the defense in that federal hearing, he produced the body, would seem to be the most efficient way to do it. And if you could get the federal court to do justice, I don't know what the attorney general, the state attorney general do, or any other political force there, but that defendant has a right to do it. And with your court, you could possibly get them to produce the body, order a new trial, or releasing.
And Scott, just to articulate, you know, when you talk about the attorney general that China, this is the attorney general as a part of trying to prevent the certification of Biden and Kamala, president, elect, now the vice president of the United States, the American female. So the attorney general that does not understand the rule of law, does not hold the and supports, I believe, insurrection behavior. We know in Missouri we have Senator Hawley and others that support the constitutional rule of law. So what we're talking about justice under the laws for everyone. And in this case, we should correct wrongful convictions, and that's our duty. And we're upholding the law and protecting the courtroom. And the prosecutor is different. We're not here for an individual. We're for the whole into the system.
That's right.
A fight is not just about Lamar. It's about everyone that we may have in Missouri that is wrongfully, we have overwhelming of innocence. And prosecutors supposed to say, oh, my bad, it happened and it's wrong, and sit there and wait until it gives us the right. And there's no procedure, so there's no accusations. It's unclear about whether the prosecutor can bring a motion for now. They're saying it's to the same limitations as the defendant. Come on.
Monique?
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Just thank you so much, Kim, just for the courage and boldness to be willing to step forward and take this kind of heat when you see that something has been done that is unjust. What we were talking about before you got on, my point of view on it is if a prosecutor doesn't have the latitude that they need because the law is constricting and constraining, then the law needs to be changed. And so it has to be work on all sides. And I don't think that we have to wait and only do one. We can do both things at the same time, or can we not?
We have to understand where we are. We are in a time in Missouri, unfortunately, is by the conservative Republicans that want to this rule of law and order, but when it comes to unfairness and justice, they seem to be silenced on case Lamar Johnson. We have a governor right now can look at commuting sentences, but he'll to do that, and he's some low level knocking the individuals that are seeking commutation or the mechanism, but the cases that the governor is reviewing, I have some concern. But I have concerns on this governor. This is the same governor basically called for allegation with Senator Hawley in terms of a case that we know is I'm dealing with right now. The gun-toting couple that decided to wave guns at individuals that decided to exercise a protest. And who do you believe the law should be applied to, and in what way? And so this governor is on board with picking sides where he has no idea about how a prosecutor has to evaluate and investigate individual criminal activity in their jurisdiction. And we have that discretion because I'm the first African circuit attorney, which that's what they call me in my jurisdiction. I'm challenged like no other. And I'm always questioned doing my job every level of government, even former president. So it's to stop playing that if you to do justice, in Lamar Johnson's case, do we have the will to do the right thing? In Missouri, right now, we said no. We want procedural barriers that impede justice. And I say, I don't believe that. I don't believe our Constitution supports that. I don't believe justice that. And I can't sit by and let that stand.
Robert Patillo.
Well, we definitely want to be able to support you in that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Robert?
Yeah, this is like one of those gadgets at school. I'm just gonna say, just let me need me to do. I'll talk Reverend into it or something. We gotta get this. But ain't Black amazing and wonderful? Between Mayor Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, they really are leading the way on criminal justice for this country, and I can't tell you how I appreciate that. And I find that the same people who are supporting Muskies waving guns at people, the same people who are supporting the arrest of Grandmaster Jay of the NFAC for gun at people. So I think you're gonna have the prosecutors like leading the charge on restorative justice, and just let me know what you need me to ready to help out.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Kim Gardner, we appreciate taking the call. And for everybody, my one-on-one Kim, this Friday, we're going to, my one-on-one with County Attorney Wesley Bell there in St. Next Friday will be my one-on-one conversation with Kim Gardner. Kim,
thank you, Roland. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much. Folks, got to go to a break. We come back more on Roland Martin Unfiltered. See, y'all, ain't no other show like this. Ain't no other show this real, this black. Nobody. Y'all go pick anybody black on any of them other networks, line them all up.
I'll give you some money after this show.
Line them all up, put them together.
Money. You know, you act like you got some sense sometimes.
First of all, don't ever try to challenge me, Scott.
You're the only lawyer that ain't on here. And you talking the more shit than all three of them.
Scott was right. Why are you saying don't ever try to challenge you? Scott was right.
No. Scott tried to challenge me. What you gonna do, call her?
Good. Because then we found out.
I knew you were gonna call her.
I ain't the one to challenge. See, when we growing up, when we had Truth or Dare, I ain't never do truth.
Good call, brother. Good call.
Dare me.
H-U, Scott. H-U.
You know?
No, TAMU, Texas A&M.
Oh, God.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll be back. Roland Martin Unfiltered.
If people begin to believe that their democracy is fraudulent, if they conclude that voting is a charade, the system is rigged, then God knows what could happen.
They rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before.
Actually, we do know what could happen. It's happening right now.
The U.S. Capitol overrun, under siege. Pro-Trump extremists storming inside, flooding the halls, breaching the floor of the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Millions of Americans sincerely believe the last election was fake.
It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it.
We will not go quietly into the night.
When thousands of your countrymen storm the Capitol building, if you don't bother to pause and learn a single thing from it, then you're a fool.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us.
We got to this sad, chaotic day for a reason. It is not your fault. It is their fault.
I believe that it's movement time again.
In America today, the economy is not working for working people.
The poor and the needy are being abused.
You are the victims of power, and this is the abuse of economic power.
I'm 23 years old. I work 3 jobs.
Work 7 days a week. No days off.
They're paying people pennies on the dollar compared to what they profit, and it is time for this to end.
Essential workers have been showing up to work, feeding us, caring for us, delivering goods to us throughout this entire pandemic, and they've been doing it on a measly $7.25 minimum wage.
The highest check I ever got was nearly $291. I can't take it no more.
You know, the fight for 15 is a lot more than about $15 an hour. This is about a fight for your dignity.
We have got to recognize that working people deserve livable wages.
And it's long past time for this nation to go to 15 so that moms and dads don't have to choose between asthma inhalers and rent.
I'm halfway homeless.
The main reason that people end up in their cars is because income does not match housing cost.
If I could just only work one job, I could have more time with them.
It is time for the owners of Walmart, McDonald's, Dollar General, and other large corporations to get off welfare and pay their workers a living wage.
And if you really want to tackle racial equity, you have to raise the minimum wage.
We're not just fighting for our families, we're fighting for yours too.
We need this. I'm going to fight for it until we get it. I'm not going to give up.
We just need all workers to stand up as one nation and just fight together.
Families are relying on these salaries, and they must be paid at a minimum $15 an hour.
$15 a minimum. Anyone should be making this to be able to stay out of poverty.
I can't take it no more. I'm doing this for not only me, but for everybody. We need 15 right now.
Hi, I'm Eric Nolan.
I'm Shantae Moore.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
After Republicans and Joe blocked Neera Tanden to head the office for President Joe Biden, they plan on putting up Shalonda Young. Now, she was going to be the deputy director of the White House Office of Management and Budget, but now they are pushing her for the top, including a statement from House Speaker Nancy, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, and Jim Clyburn. Now, again, Tanden lost the support of a number of folks through her nomination. For 4 years, Young has worked on the staff of the U.S. House Committee on Appropriations, the last 4, as its staff director. She was the first to hold that position, and we'll let you know what happens next. Now, they're also throwing darts and trying to stop a couple of to join the Department of Justice, Kristen Clark and Vanita Gupta. We've had both of them on the show. Vanita Gupta, former Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, and of course, Kristen at the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, under a group of anti-Trump conservatives. They're launching a $1 million campaign in support of Gupta nomination in counterattacks from hard-right Republicans who are painting her as a radical. Yesterday, the NAACP Defense Fund also came out in support. Dylan Eiffel dropped this video here.
To give my unreserved support on behalf of the board and staff of the LDF for the confirmation of Vanita Gupta to serve as Associate Attorney General in the Department of Justice. I have known Ms. Gupta for 17 years. She's been a trusted colleague, a leader, a visionary, and a partner in the fight for civil rights and racial justice. Excuse me. Vanita began her career at the organization I now lead. She was an assistant counsel at LDF from 2001 to 2006, and she quickly proved herself to be an extraordinary lawyer, a visionary, and a fierce fighter for those whose lives were most affected by injustice in the criminal justice system. Since then, she has continued a storied career as leader at the ACLU, at the Department of Justice, leading the Civil Rights Division at one of the most contentious modern periods in the department's history, and then as the CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, where she brilliantly led a coalition of over 200 civil and human rights organizations.
And of course, they're going after criticizing Vanita Gupta and Kristen Clark, trying to call the anti-Semite total BS. Robert, what you're saying is Republicans doing what they always do. Keep in mind, when President Obama was there, Republicans blocked his appointee for the office of the Civil Rights Division of his Department of Justice. And here's the deal. No black woman, no one has ever been, for the head of the Civil Rights Division, has ever been actually confirmed, which Kristen Clark is trying to do. Of course, Gupta served in that position. She was acting, but never had a woman gone through the process and been actually voted and confirmed by the Senate. They want to stop Gupta and Kristen Clark. We should be standing with them.
Not just, let's understand something. This should be perjury. It shouldn't matter what the Republican conservatives, what the MAGAs are too, quite frankly, because you have hegemonic in the caucus. We should not be Democrats leeching off her. Let's understand, anyone who does not, they should have a primary challenge for the day that they missed it. And frankly, I think this is one of those places where we can learn Trump, where things will be instructive. Trump ain't give a damn whether or not you confirmed his nominees. He just put them there. And so I think for Joe Biden to make it clear to the Senate that whether you confirm or not, if you have objections, I'm putting my people in place, and y'all can figure the stuff out just like President Trump. The reason that his MAGA supported him so much was he did not care. He was going to fight for their agenda. You tell him he can't put a wall, he'll steal some of the wall. You tell him he can't ban Muslims, he'll ban the Muslims anyway. And I think that Joe Biden has to have them understanding that we're not having an old malarkey show at the town square or wherever things used to be. This is a fight. And these people have to be prepared to fight with the same weapons they are, because you push your agenda through. There'll be no second chance, because as we articulated at the beginning, if you do not put an agenda that motivates people to turn back out in 2022 and 2024, there won't be anything left to fight for. So you get that done now and you figure everything else out.
just want to talk about and celebrate. Won't he do it? We lost Nero, but we gained a Shalonda. Just saying. Yeah.
Can you stay on topic?
Get to your point.
Isn't that the topic? The topic is they tried to get rid of one woman of color and they got a black woman in her place. We were talking about Democrats needing to be gangster, weren't we? I'm on topic. I resent you saying I'm not on topic just because I'm celebrating the fact that you win with black women.
Can you stick to the two lawyers we're talking about?
Oh my God.
Bonita Gupta, Christian Clark. That's the topic.
Oh, God.
Okay, Scott, go ahead.
Christian Clark.
Okay, Scott, go ahead. No, you took too long. No. If it was reversed, I'd be skipping Scott. Scott, go ahead, Scott.
I defer.
I'm going to let Sister talk.
She don't get to defer. This ain't her show. Scott, go.
He gave me his time. That never happens, Roland.
All right, criminals stole billions in COVID-19 unemployment benefits. Congress is about to approve another $1 trillion in COVID-19 unemployment benefits, even though the state-based system remains vulnerable to the same rampant fraud that allows last year to siphon off more than $40 billion in pandemic relief intended for the needy. Cybercrime is a huge issue, and look, bottom line, they put the rules in place to fix this problem because, again, dollars ain't no joke. Cybercrime, including some ones made their living exploiting weak victims, one that as Congress prepares to pay another massive fusion of cash, have gotten smarter. Speaking of that, Democrats also now are lowering the threshold COVID checks. What the hell are they doing, Monique? 17 million people not being affected. You passed it. Why are you lowering the threshold?
Right.
No, they passed it in the House. They haven't passed it in the Senate.
Okay, they passed it in the House, but why are you lowering the threshold? First of all, President Biden promised $2,000 checks. Now they $1,400.
No, Roland. 600 we already got. Those of us, those checks, whoever.
No, hold up. He promised 2,000 himself, not some other.
That's 600.
No, it was all plus the 1,400 to make the 2,000.
Why are they lowering the threshold? Why lower the threshold?
Obviously, because they are in trouble on getting this legislation passed. And so they're trying to make sure that the people who get this money aren't people like Scott, who shouldn't be getting $1,400.
First of all, let's be real clear. The threshold that where it's at, Scott way beyond that bracket. So he wasn't getting it anyway. Scott wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting it. Robert wasn't getting it. Hell, Monique, you wasn't getting it.
Check. I wasn't getting it.
Robert, go ahead. Robert, go ahead. What do you think about lowering the threshold?
The reason that lowering the threshold makes absolutely no sense is that, for example, if a defense contractor comes to the government and says F-35 is going to cost $100 billion, and then 10 years later they say, my bad, it's $1 trillion, nobody says anything. We are quibbling over whether you're going to have $600 now and $1,400 now and $2,000 later. Let's understand how rigged this is against the common working man in this country. Wasn't that $1.5 trillion tax cut 3 years ago? Ain't nobody say, well, does it have to be $1.5 trillion? What about $1.49 trillion? No, they just and they keep going, and we start fighting as if we are winning the battle. Remember what we said earlier show. The Senate Democrats represent 40 million more Senate Republicans. They have a popular vote, and every election for the last 30 years won in 2004. The manifesto of the American people behind economic stimulus. If you need a further example, to the economic crash of 2008-2009, the Great Recession. We saw in did austerity measures, spending. They decided to retrench the government, and it slowed down economic recovery. And in fact, things like Greece and Spain, which were some of the most dear nations, have having to be bailed out by other European countries because they could not keep up with the downturn of the economy. Alternatively, in the U.S., we had cash for clunkers. We had the economic programs that the economy forward because they're under Keynes economic theory, as opposed to the school of austerity, the Adam Smith wing of economics. There is no amount of stimulus that will be too much to off a recession. Going back to the origins of those theories, look at the New in response to the Great Depression. The reason the New Deal was a fear was because it wasn't big enough. You need the economic size of World War II to knock the the entire out of a global recession. So this idea to somehow lowering the threshold from 1,000 to 80,000 is saving us money. It is negating part of the economic recovery that we go through. And frankly, Democrats know this. They've argued this and there's no reason for them to be backing down. Because guess what? But the majority, most of the people in the country, the Republicans are a minority who are bowing to a gold CPAC. Just govern like you're act like you want election, for Christ's sake.
Scott?
The Democrats need to be in therapy. They do. They have an inferiority complex, right? Everything that Robert says is correct. You got the people behind you. Let the Republicans vote no for a higher package. Let Joe Manchin and his people vote no when the people are suffering and they need to get this money out at $1.9+ trillion. Don't bid against yourself and say I'm gonna lower the threshold when you don't even know what the vote's gonna be. Let the Republicans fail the American people and then hanging around their neck and anchor. Don't give up the ghost before you even take a vote. Go to therapy, but stand strong. That's my message to the Democrats on the House and Senate side.
Monique, final comment?
There's this thing, the whip, and what they do is count votes, right? And so the reason why they're doing this, Scott, I've been with you all night, but now you're going too far, is because they know what they have and what they don't have. They do know what the vote is, and they do know what they need, and they do know that we have to
whip them into shape. You said a whip.
We have to get this package. We have to get this package there to the American people. But to your point, and to everybody's point, bipartisanship is not just in the House or in the Senate. The nation at large does, in a bipartisan manner, support this legislation. So the White House is right in saying that it is bipartisan. And so these GOP legislators will have to answer to their own constituencies when, not if, but when they don't vote for it. But I do understand that there is a need to negotiate in order for this to come out. And I know 2, 3, 5, 20, maybe 100 small businesses that will immediately receive benefits once the legislation is passed.
Okay.
Not ahead of the game, though. Not ahead of the game, Monique.
But look, this is my
issue. You can get and then negotiate something down.
Scott, go. Right. First of all, the Democrats start negotiating down from the beginning. But go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, my question is, what Democrat is it? Because we have the 50-vote majority, or what Republican that changing the threshold by $20,000 matters to them? Like realistically, where the of that? Where does it change the total of the bill? Where does that change the CBO score on the bill? So it doesn't make sense for them to try to negotiate across the line, because the people on the other side are manifestly against the concept, the idea. Remember, they have MAGA vision. They're in their own bubble universe that's not true to the rest of us. But look,
it's got a lot of Republican support. It does.
That's not true. They isolated one issue, and there are Republicans who believe that rich folks are going to get this $1,400, and that's the hill they're trying to die on, and so people are trying to fix it.
Monique, these dumbasses talking about Dr. Seuss. You can lower. You can. Let me tell you something right now.
Worse of them.
You can lower this to 1,000, and they still gonna complain.
You can't make more of them than I do.
All Robert is saying is
we don't have any bipartisan partnership. We moved on from Robert. We're going to another level right now, Roland.
We're just trying to get something done.
Go on, Monique. But look, Roland, all you would have to do, if you really want to say, look, if you really want to change the BO score on it, this is what you do. Make those direct payments have to opt in, and all those MAGAs who could be against it, just tell them to out of it. And then you won't have to have the economic threshold go down, because all those MAGA people stormed the Capitol, so immediately checked about saying, I don't want free government money. I'm an economic conservative. I believe balanced budgets, and just say they don't get it. And then you won't lower the threshold. The math works out on it.
They're going to get that money. Mark wants that money.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all that Democratic money.
All right, y'all.
Conservatives go out the window.
All right.
Got a vaccine, and he opening up the whole of Texas while he's fully vaccinated.
All right, y'all keep running y'all mouths. Y'all know what time it is.
Exactly.
No charcoal grills are allowed. I'm white. I got you, Carl. Illegally selling water without a permit? on my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here. I'm uncomfortable.
All right, we got a different type of crazy-ass white people. This is for all of the dumbass conservatives who give money to loser campaigns. Kim Klacik, y'all remember her? That's right, the black girl in Baltimore who ran against President May. We all knew she was gonna get her ass whooped. I remember this little ad she ran here. Remember this little ad?
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this.
All right, Kim ran that ad, Donald Trump retweeted it. All Republicans like, yeah, we got us one. And let's just be clear, I've had Kim on the show. Kim she ain't the brightest bulb in the room. She not. She not. But she raised nearly $2 million for the campaign. Actually, about $8 million. And all this money was raised. She raised a total of $8.3 million. Half of that money went to a company called Olympic Media. They're responsible for the ad. Now, here's the deal. Also, a part of that, the groups that raise money, they start getting more of the money. Some of these campaigns have it where the people who help them raise money get 67% of the money that they raise. Let me tell y'all something. Who's the biggest fool? The absolute biggest fools in America. I'm talking about straight up stuck on stupid, dumb conservatives. You know why? You can get them fools give money to anything. That fool Donald Trump got his ass whooped in the election. These fools gave that man more than $200 million to his PAC when he was talking about give to us for legal defense. He kept losing in the courts. Rudy is charging $20,000 a day. Them dumbasses kept giving money. Now, she raised $8.3 million against Kwame Mfume. Let me tell you something right now. Kim Klacik could have got a body change, and she could have went out and had her body change to look like Madea, or look like Harry, or hell, look like Angela Bassett in Black Panther. Her ass still would have lost to Kwame Mfume. That fool who ran against Maxine Waters, I think his ass raised like $3-4 million. We all know he was going to get his ass whooped, but them conservatives kept giving money. Now, them same conservatives are whining saying they want their money back because they gave money to Kim's campaign and half the money went to the media company. Just like the Republican donor, I think he gave like a couple $1 million. He wants his money back from Trump. I'm sorry, y'all stupid. Y'all some crazy ass white people for giving money to folk who ain't got no shot of winning. I don't feel sorry for not now one of these folks, Robert. None of them. If you dumb enough to send Kim Klacik a donation who had no shot, I mean none, zero, zilch of winning, you got what you deserve.
Well, look, Roland, Kim's a friend of mine, and I'm support her. I think this before she ran for the seat, she was doing with homeless women within the Baltimore.
Robert.
That's my homegirl.
Robert, hold up. I'm the one who put on TV.
Yeah. I was next to her.
Hold up, Robert. Guess why she stopped coming on? Because we posted a segment. She wasn't mad at the segment. She was mad at the photo or the screen grab we posted. I said, are you serious? Robert, come on now. You know Kim ain't the brightest bulb in a complete dark room.
And in politics, images and everything, she raised $8 million and I ain't raised a dollar. Then guess what? I'm going to give the person with the check.
But my point is this here, Robert. All them dumb white folks who mad because half of the money went to a media company, guess what? You the one who was stupid. She had no shot at winning.
And if she had sent that $8 million to you, you would be in the commercials right now.
And guess what? You damn right I would. And all I'm saying is this here.
What are we arguing about?
No, we not arguing. I'm laughing. Monique, these dumb conservatives don't realize the grift. They just giving that money to Candace Owens, grifter. Giving that money to Charlie Kirk, grifter. Giving that money to that boy Tatum, grifter. We ran a video of these black conservatives talking. Well, one of them admitted he was a grifter. Bottom line is this here. I don't feel sorry for any conservative who sent money to Kim's campaign and half the money went out the door the moment it came in. I don't feel sorry.
The grift is real, but I'm using my 30 seconds to say, Rob, your loyalty is winning tonight. I am so thankful for you that I know you. This 3-lawyer panel is everything. And that you would not roll over on your girl, I'm not going to say nothing about her because I see you prepared to defend her. So why would I do that? But that's it.
Scott, here's what people don't realize is there are people in the political game and it's all about the money. And they sit here, they represent folk knowing full well they're not going to win. And guess what? Yeah. Look, when Ben Carson ran for president, he was raking in the money and was spending the money. Who was he spending the money on? The folks who were raking in the money. I was sitting here like, I don't know why y'all giving y'all money to Ben Carson. His ass ain't going to win. And again, that's the game. Republicans, it used to be the mail order system. It was all about the mail game. Now online game. That's all they doing. Again, all I'm saying is here. Hey, player ain't hating the game. What I'm saying is, y'all are dumb if y'all complaining. I gave my money. I sure as hell thought she was going to win in Baltimore. What the hell? And they gave money, millions to that boy who ran against Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters could be straight, laid up. Maxine could be kicking and smoking a cigarette in robe with her hair tied and not run a campaign, not run a spot, don't send out a pamphlet, don't even walk the street. She ain't even got to yell into a megaphone and she was going to whoop his ass. But they gave like $4 million. Hey, guess what? I celebrate the media company that made money on stupid people, Scott.
They made 50 cents on every dollar that they raised because of that ad. But in all fairness, let's say that, let's just be real clear. These individuals given $8 million and the company making $4 million of it, they were given because Donald Trump and his son endorsed it. They were given the curry favor GOP and Donald Trump Jr. They weren't really given to Kim Classic. They didn't really care whether she won or not. They cared because she stood for what they believe in part, but in big part because Donald Trump retweeted it and Donald Trump Jr. endorsed it.
Man, let me tell y'all something.
It's dumb to support the Trumps. Then it was dumb money to put it before Kim Classic. For them, they didn't care whether she won or lost. That's reality check I'm sharing with you tonight.
Let me tell y'all something right now. If I hate it, let me tell you something right now. First of all, what I'm doing is drinking some water on my damn show. Let me tell y'all something right now.
Get me all laid back.
Let me tell y'all something right now. What you talking about? You sitting your ass in your living room.
Palatial living room, palatial. Can't leave that part out. Palatial.
You sitting in your palatial ass living room. Monique sitting in a corner in the office. Robert got a green screen or damn step and repeat and is crooked as hell. The left side crooked and the right side.
Sometimes.
So let me
it out next week.
Let me tell y'all. Right, I don't know who Robert's manager. Maybe that was Kim who put that up.
Look, I'm gonna lean to the side though, so it straightens out.
No, it don't.
This can't be a show. This cannot be a real show.
Let me tell you, right? Let me tell y'all something. I probably would be. Look, with my skill set, if I hated black people, if I wanted to trash black people, if I wanted to just use plantation language, I'd be worth $100 million. Cause I could be raking in some money from them dumb white conservatives. So let's just be real clear. Dumb white conservatives love a black hating black person. Oh, that's why the ignorant fool Vernon Jones, knowing full well he can't do nothing there in Georgia. That's why he running his ass around crowd surfing with white folks at rallies, because he's stupid. That's why you got Angie Stanton running her little mouth at CPAC, maroon looking hair or red, whatever the hell color they had. I'm telling you, it's grifting. is grifting. So all I'm saying.
Look,
and here's my deal. If I'm Kim, here's why I'm really mad. Kim should have set the media company herself. See, that's how you really get over. You set the media company up yourself. You do like Donald Trump done created all these LLCs, all the money he's made from all the money he made from the Secret Service renting colleges on his land. Well, all I'm saying, y'all, is what you dealing with is you dealing with some grifters, some straight ass thuggish grifters. And so, hey, for every Republican who's upset that y'all lost that money, hey, suck it up. Suck it up. You wasn't gonna be crazy. What gonna happen? So I don't feel sorry for not naming one of y'all.
Look, Roland. Look, if you're gonna call it she hustled $8 million hard. Angie Stanton, she got the best hustle. She finessed her pardon. You know how hard it is to get a pardon? So if you can way into some millions in a pardon versus other people who've been working and fighting for the Democratic Party and got a T-shirt, all means, play on, player.
Oh, no, I got it. I mean, look, you had a fool in Donald Trump, so he ain't no problem collecting all them crazy nutcases that were all around him. So, you know, that's the case. But I saw this story, and I just cracked up laughing at all these Republicans just mad. I mean, I'm talking about they mad and upset.
They want their money.
They mad and upset. Back. All their money went down the drain, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, sorry. Whatever. Oh, and you know what? And I'm glad you made that point about Ann Stanton. You know, I ain't talked about her in a while. So let me just go ahead and give her a shout out.
Oh, that's so wrong. Oh,
and it don't matter because she got a part. That's how you hustle it. None of that matter because it's all part of it.
Yeah, but the internet lives forever. And so
that record claim.
So here's the deal. So here's the lesson in all this, Angie Stanton. Front of your mouth about me. I'm gonna keep your ass famous. All right, y'all, we got to go. If y'all want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, so we can continue to show photos like that of Angie Stanton, please do so by giving us a Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal.me/R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo.com/RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandMartin.com, and Roland at Roland Martin Unfiltered. Leave a shout out. We got some checks mail. Jacqueline Martin Milton. Hello, Mr. Martin. Last year, my husband paid $50 in my name. My husband is a YouTube subscriber. So this year, I said to pay the $50 again. He called me a freeloader. Well, she said, here's a check for $150. See? So what they saying, he gave $50. She had to give her own money. I'm with the husband. I appreciate that, my brother. Thanks a lot.
And she tripled it.
I'm going to give you some money, Roland, this week. How much money you want me to give you?
No, the $10,000 you owe. You lost that bet. All right. Alphonse Hong, hello, how are you? Here's my $50 for joining the fan club 21. I love Realtor. Please keep doing what you're doing. A wealth of knowledge. Say that, because, you know, Scott needs to understand that more and more. Okay, that's it, y'all. Scott, I appreciate it. Monique, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Robert, much as well. And well for your girl. But, yeah, still ain't the brightest bulb in the dark room. All right, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Don't forget, Coming to America, the sequel comes out on Friday. We all going to be rocking the kente. Okay, just letting y'all know. Everybody be rocking the kente. And then we got my interview, of course, with Bell that we're going to be airing show. So we're looking forward. We're looking forward to. Matter of fact, you know what? I think Anthony, he sent me. He said, "You have the promo? Fine, don't worry about it. Cause see, I don't need y'all to do that. I got it. Roll it."
And so I became a judge of a small city because I'm thinking this is the way that I can really impact the system. And then I'm sitting on the bench, and I'm realizing 80 to 90 to 95% of the cases, by the time they get to me, they're already worked out. By who? The prosecutor. And so I'm starting to realize, okay, yeah, I can be that benevolent judge. I can work with people, but the real change is coming from that prosecutor's office. And that's what really made the light switch click on for me, is when I'm constantly seeing these people come where I think they actually deserve a fair outcome, but they already worked this out with the prosecutor, and I don't really have much I can do.
All right, y'all, that's on Friday right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!